Hello and welcome to the Garage Series. My name is Jeremy Chapman.
And I'm Zahib Ali.
So on today's show, we're going to have a first look at what's coming in mobile device management capabilities for Office 365.
And as more of us bring personal devices to work, corporations are asking, how do we protect the data on these devices?
And a lot of the solutions out there are either going to compromise the end user experience or really lead to compromises in productivity. And in Office, we're all about productivity.
Absolutely, and we'll demo some of the new features for mobile device management for Office 365.
And we'll even catch up from the people behind mobile device management. Kamal Janardhan, lead engineer on the team, will be here. But before we get started, let's have a look at today's trivia.
True or false, MDM policies can prevent copy and paste from company-approved managed applications into personal applications.
So stay tuned for the answer at the end of the show. So Ali, we've been doing some form of MDM for some time now. What's different?
Absolutely. So as you know, Jeremy, we've had Exchange Active Sync policies, but that's really only been applying to email. So what we want to do is really expand that to the rest of our Office applications.
Right, and when you think about it, the surface area of things that you want to protect where you have sensitive data are really among things like especially Excel, Word, PowerPoint, even data synchronizing with your OneDrive for Business account. But tell me, what are the platforms that we're going to support?
So we'll be supporting this for iOS and Android, specifically iOS 7 and Android 4 and higher, and we'll be expanding to more platforms over time.
And before you show all of this stuff working and in action, I actually caught up with lead engineer Kamal Janardhan, who actually talked about the specifics as well as the vision about getting our MDM solution built.
We want you to have the best native application experience possible and not be hampered by compliance. Our goal is that you're able to go about your daily tasks, and if you're about to take an action that may put corporate data at risk, we prevent or guide you away from it.
And how does that not impact user productivity? How does that actually work?
So typically solutions in the market today use containerization or app wrapping, and what the end user experience is that they have to use an app that they're not familiar with, or they have to give up control of their device with personal and corporate data. Our goal is to create that security boundary and allow you to use the app that you prefer while separating the enterprise and the information worker. So we've built this into Office 365. The first piece of this is device policies. What we do here is give you more policies than you have with EAS and allow you to target them to users and groups. This means you could have a really strict set of controls for, say, your finance team, but a lax set of controls for, say, your sales team. The second piece is something we call conditional access through Active Directory. And here we allow you to have access to corporate resources only if you're enrolled. And we try to give you a seamless, simple enrollment experience as part of your logon.
Right.
And if you fall out of device compliance, then you lose access by the same mechanism.
And what's the third piece?
Yeah, the third piece, which is arguably the most important, is selective wipe. We enabled selective wipe for OA, and now we've extended it to other Office apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive for Business, and EAS. And here, what we ensure is that you can use your personal or corporate apps in whichever device you like, and then when the device is lost or it is no longer part of a corporate asset, we wipe only your corporate data and leave your personal data untouched. As you can imagine, this ensures that your children's pictures are never lost, which is important for both us and for you.
Right, we showed that on previous garage shows where basically we can select just the corporate data to wipe with OA, but now it's extended across the stack. But I know we're doing more in terms of being able to separate our work and personal lives, because I know I've got my device here, for example, and I'm using things like Facebook or Twitter. How do I keep those two worlds separated?
Oh, that's a great question. So you will be able to continue to use these apps in either of these experiences. But if you want advanced features in this area that protect the data flow from one to the other, we have Microsoft's PC and mobile device management solution that is called Intune. And here you have advanced features like preventing copy and paste between various Office apps, or whitelisting approved URLs, and much, much more.
One of the great things about Intune is that you can basically get up and running in about a minute because all of the Azure Active Directory pieces are the same. This is all great stuff. Appreciate your work here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So it was great catching up with Kamal. She talked to us about protecting data on devices without impacting the experience.
Right, and I know there's some things you have to do on the Office 365 admin portal to get all this working, so why don't you show us what that looks like?
Absolutely, let's take a look. So we'll start off in Office 365 Compliance Center. We'll create a new policy.
Okay.
So here we'll type in the name for the policy. So what you'll see here now is you'll see a lot of familiar policies that we had in ActiveSync inside the requirements page. So going through them, you'll see pin lock and everything else that we've had in ActiveSync, but
right,
we've added the addition on there for jailbreak detection. So let's go ahead and select a couple of these policies and requirements, and let's click next. So along with the requirements that we saw on the other page, we also have device level settings that we can set, such as blocking screen capture and also the camera. So now once we've selected our requirements that we want to do at the device level and enforce those policies, we can now apply them not only just to the org level, but we can now specify group policies. With ActiveSync, we were only able to do it across the entire org. It was all or none. Now we can really dig down into security groups and set specific security groups for HR or sales or marketing or whatever the department may be.
This is really great because I'm on one Exchange Online or SharePoint Online tenant, so I don't have to do anything like have multiple different infrastructures set up to do this. It's all natively supported with security groups here.
So what we'll do here is we'll select a group, and let's go ahead and apply this policy to that group. And as you can see, in a few steps, we're done and we're set up a policy that's been applied to Office 365.
And this is great. So now that the policy's set, any person that tries to connect to the service is going to have that policy enforced on their device. If they haven't enrolled it, they'll have to enroll it. But I think one of the really important pieces here is that, you know, if the user goes and changes, because it's conditional access, if they change, say, their device pin lock, or they change and jailbreak their phone, or they root their Android device, we'll detect that and be able to stop data flowing to it, right?
Absolutely. We'll stop the data, and we'll also block the applications from being opened.
And even beyond that, I think this thing that's really cool, we had Greg Barabalt on the show a few shows back. He talked about something called selective wipe. So we'll be able to not only wipe the entire device, what we're used to from a traditional device level wipe with Exchange ActiveSync, but we can target just the Office experience itself, even that email data that's going in when you start synchronizing, right?
Absolutely. We can do it at the ActiveSync level for your native email clients on the iOS and Android phones, and also the applications themselves.
So Kamal also talked about adding Intune to Office 365. What does that give us?
So there are a few scenarios, but instead of talking about it, let's take a look. So we'll start off in the Microsoft Intune portal.
Okay.
And we'll go in and actually configure a policy. So we'll click Add, and we'll pick from a policy template that's already made, and let's create that policy. So once we've created that policy, we'll go back and edit and configure specifics on that policy. So once we're actually in the edit policy stage, we'll be able to see features such as sharing. So we can actually set up sharing between applications, such as restricting certain applications only to talk to other applications. And what we can also do is we can actually set cut, copy, paste restrictions on the applications too. So we can tell it that only certain applications can cut and copy and paste to other applications. And then also we've introduced this new application level pin lock. And instead of actually having to place a pin lock on the entire device, you can now only do it to the application itself. So you can leave the device completely unlocked and still be able to protect corporate data.
And that's super friendly in a BYOD environment.
Absolutely.
So now once you've got the policy created, it's basically ready to go. And then you just have to assign it to applications, and then it can be deployed out to your users, right? That's the best part. So this is the great thing. Now we can actually see all of our work in action on a device here, an iPad.
Yep, let's get started. So here we have our work applications such as OneDrive for Business, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. And then we also have our personal applications on the same device, such as Twitter, Facebook, and Netflix, and other actual applications on the device. So we'll go into a corporate managed application, and in this case, it's Excel. Mm-hmm. And what you'll notice is that you'll immediately be prompted for a PIN. This is our application PIN that we had enforced in the other policy. So here we'll enter our PIN, and we'll immediately get access to corporate data. In this case, okay, we have an annual financial report that we're looking at with confidential corporate information. So what we'll do is we'll actually copy this revenue number, and let's go out back to the main screen. So we'll go into the notes application that's built into the iPad, and we'll attempt to paste. And what you notice, Jeremy, is that you're not able to paste because that paste actually has corporate data into it. So what we're doing here is actually making that division between corporate data and personal data, and making sure that that corporate data is protected and can't be pasted into an unsecure application.
Wow, so the Notes app isn't actually managed by my IT department, things like that Facebook or the Twitter app there, so you wouldn't be able to take your, in this case, your important financial data and just paste it in wherever you want. That's all managed data flow then.
Absolutely, and let's go back to another managed application and see what the paste process looks like. So once we open up Word, right, which is another managed application, you'll notice that we do have pin lock on here to also secure it. We'll paste the corporate data, and it will allow us to paste now. And when it's actually pasted inside of this managed device or managed application, this managed application can only save back to OneDrive for Business.
That's awesome. So you have a complete separation then in terms of your work life and being able to store data, really move data between those managed applications, but not really be able to bleed that into your personal application list. So this is really cool stuff, and I thank you for showing this. But before we wrap up today's show, let's have a look at trivia.
True or false, MDM policies can prevent copy and paste from company-approved managed applications into personal applications.
So of course the answer was true. We just saw all of this in action. It's really incredible.
Absolutely. We saw how we can actually protect corporate data without impacting the end user experience.
And I bet a lot of people are asking, when is this going to start rolling out in Office 365?
So these features will start rolling out towards the end of the year, Jeremy.
I'm looking forward to actually using some of this stuff. So that's all the time we have for today's show. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter, or you can keep up to date with all the latest features on the Garage blog. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.